Well, the Governor's Bay community wants to keep their jetty, but it's 150 years old and in serious need of repair. The cost of replacing the wooden structure is around $3 million. And like many projects across the city, it's unlikely to get funding from the council. But members of the Save Governor's Bay Jetty Trust say it could be saved with a unique cost-sharing concept. And joining me now is Phil Jackson from the Trust. Phil, thank you so much for coming in today. Really
Thanks,
appreciate it. Let's just talk about your submission. You've made a submission to the long-term plan for council, haven't you? Do you want to talk about that submission?
That's correct. Thanks, Jared. Yes, we have only just found out a couple of months ago what the council's intentions for the jetty were, what the final cost proposals were for fixing it. And so we held a public meeting, which was really well attended, and out of that we formed the Trust. And the basis of the submission to council is that it's really worthwhile maintaining this facility. We would like to partner with the council, not only with a cost sharing, but also with a skill sharing, because there's a lot of skills in the bay that we can use. Engineering skills, civil engineering skills, logistics, transport, technology, and we hope that by partnering with the council, using innovative construction methods, we can bring the cost down.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the Trust as well, because you were just saying then too with the whole engineering and stuff too. There's a bit of a team on this Trust, isn't there? Do you want to talk about the people that are on the Trust that can help bring this back?
Yeah, it's quite an amazing, motivated bunch of people. We've got lots of people there. We've got Simon Mortlock, he's a lawyer. He specialises in obviously the legal aspects for setting up the Trust as a charitable trust. He's guiding us through a lot of that. He's done a lot of projects with charities. Right. We've got Rex Gebby, he's a logistics manager for the Banks Peninsula Transport. We've got Louisa, she's a communications expert. We've got Nick and Nick, they're both civil engineers.
There you go, not just the same name, but those civil engineers as well. Fantastic. Yeah. So you have got a nice rounded team of people there to help with that.
Absolutely.
Let's just talk about how important the jetty is to Governor's Bay. How important is it?
Well, it's iconic, it's always been there, and we can't imagine not having it. And it's not just Governor's Bay. People use it from all over, from Christchurch. You often see tourists down there, or you did before it was fenced off. There are wedding photos there. It's the only way to access the water when the tide's not in. So there's lots and lots of reasons why we need it there. It's also great to help people recover from after the earthquake. People need to be able to do things together and to have familiar places to go. And rebuilding an old familiar place is a great thing to help in that process.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the history of the jetty because it's 150 years old. How did it all come about? Why was it even built in the first place?
Well, simply for access. Back in the day, the water was the main access way. So 1883 was the first jetty that was built. And it was only, I guess, from the photos, I don't know, 8 or 10 metres long. You could get a decent ship up into it, or boat. It was extended in 1915 and again in 1927, and that's when it became 300 metres long.
Absolutely, that's why it's so long. So it was very short at the start and then it's extended more and more as well. But with it being extended more and more as well, it means there's more there's damage now too, isn't it? It makes it even more of it. Let's just talk about some of that damage. Now, I understand there's 53 posts that need to be fixed and 2 they've disintegrated. Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so the council did a really thorough investigation of it, and 53 piles had to be replaced. They were deemed in imminent danger of collapsing. And I guess they're 100% right, because about a month ago, 2 piles actually collapsed within a week of each other in storms. So it's a bit more precarious than it was.
So it's a mix of obviously the damage from the earthquakes, but also just wear and tear too, is it?
Yeah, there's a lot of wear and tear on the wood that's been there for 100 years, and the earthquakes didn't help.
Has there been any other kind of damage from any other people that have been using it, or has there been anything since the quakes, or what's it just been sitting there? Is it just waiting to be repaired from the report, isn't it? Because they've been waiting on the report from the council, wasn't it?
Yeah, the community partnered with the council 15, 18 years ago to do a bunch of restoration, and at that time a lot of planking was restored. The council did some work in 2010 after the tsunami came through, around about that time, the miniature tsunami. And it was in reasonable shape then, but the earthquake really knocked it around.
Absolutely. Let's talk more about the support for this as well, because you said you've had quite a few meetings and all that as well. Yeah, how much support is there?
Well, we have over 750 signatures on our petition to save it. There are 25 individual submissions to council to save it apart from ours. And there's only 800 people in Governor's Bay, so there's a wide base of support from outside the community.
Yeah, no, definitely as well. I want to talk now about your submission to council. Now, you were saying before, it's not just about the cost sharing. There's some other elements too that you guys can help with to either get the costs down too as well. Do I talk more about that?
Yeah, we believe there's construction opportunities and construction techniques that we can use. The council proposal was to put the piles in by barge from sea, which is limited by tides and etc. We believe we can put the piles in from land and use the jetty as a platform so that it's the pile driver will work its way out over the jetty that it's building as it goes. We believe you can use GPS techniques to position the pile driver, which takes a lot of time out of the process. The operator lines up 2 dots and drives a pile instead of waiting for surveyors and all the associated expense and danger with having surveyors around pile drivers.
Absolutely. Now, your submission is going to the long-term plan hearings tomorrow, isn't it? It's tomorrow it goes
7:30 tomorrow.
7:30 tomorrow. Do you think there's a lot of things at the moment, and you all know this too, that the council has to deal with? There's a lot of other projects as well. Where do you see this in the priority list for them? Is this something that may need to wait a bit longer, or is this something that you think should be one of the higher priorities for council to fix?
Well, given that 2 piles have fallen over and there's an imminent threat to the jetty from doing nothing, we would like to see that this gets funded in the next 1 to 5 years. We believe it'll take us a year to get everything together, and the next 2 or 3 years will be when the funding's required to repair it.
Awesome, fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for coming in. Phil Jackson from the Governor's Bay Jetty Trust. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.